Joy Drive.
Theatre, film, TV and more. Suzy Wrong reviews it all on Joy Drive with Em and Warren.
Good afternoon, Suzy Wrong.
Good afternoon, Warren. In reference to your earlier conversation about Queen Cleopatra on Netflix, I just want to say that in a world where people lose their minds over a black actress playing the Little Mermaid, we will not be surprised that they would feel the same when someone slightly melanated is playing an African queen.
Yeah, I don't know. I was a bit confused. I didn't realise the controversy was over that. I thought it was over the authentic nature of the series and being called I suppose not a documentary. Well, being called a documentary, but not a drama.
I feel like the backlash is so ferocious. It just feels like it has so much to do with the bit of liberty that they might have taken. And in the show, they did explain themselves. They did say that although the Ptolemy dynasty tried very hard to keep their Greek blood within their family line, because they made their kids marry each other. But because they have been there for generations, it's understandable that Queen Cleopatra might look slightly brown.
And, if she's acting like Queen Cleopatra, then does it really matter what colour?
I felt like, it was a little bit of a curious point in the first 20, 30 minutes, but after that, it just doesn't matter, really.
Suzy, today, though, this does matter because we're talking about the ultimatum. Tell us about that.
The Ultimatum, Queer Love, is one of several queer dating shows to appear on our devices this year. 5 lesbian couples are getting involved in a wife-swapping situation for this new reality series on Netflix. It all begins with one of the lovers from each of the couples issuing an ultimatum for marriage, and the other party being not quite ready to take the leap. They all then descend upon a film set in San Diego, spending 1 week getting to know the other 4 couples before deciding to spend a further intensive 3 weeks with a new chosen partner. During those 3 weeks, these new pairings live together in what they term trial marriages, purportedly to test their feelings for their original real partners. It is all very, very contrived, but like all great successes in the reality TV genre, we depart from starting points that make no sense and go full bore into the biggest of human emotions, so intense and so authentic that one simply gives up questioning the point of it all and just go with the flow. The Ultimatum, Queer Love begins incredibly banal, especially for a viewer like me who's practically aromantic in my constitution, but it soon gets fascinating as we watch these women and non-binary individuals begin to unravel, revealing rare glimpses of human vulnerability and a whole lot of human fallibility. With the ancient concept of marriage providing a foundation for these manufactured relationships, we are able to question the point of it all. Why and how do we fall in love? Why do some of us want to get married so badly? And most intriguing for me is to ask, what's love got to do with it? Do you want a passion that fades or a marriage that lasts? Surely you can't have it both ways. Most of the cast are in their 30s, so a fairly young bunch who have not yet begun to even consider that maybe a successful marriage involves a lot more than initial romantic connections. Warren,
yes?
There are for sure some unlikable characters in the show. But do they manage to get you sucked into some of the stories that developed in these first 4?
No, Suzy, honestly, look, I have to begin by saying I hate reality TV. Like, I really hate it. And I started watching it. And you know what? And look, 10 marks to Netflix because I love that they were all women and non-binary people, and full marks to Netflix for doing a whole series because normally, we're shown as the novelty, aren't we? We're cast for that reason. But to have the whole series and they didn't have to say their coming out stories. There was none of this. They were just, bang, let's talk about it. One of us wants to get married, one doesn't. But Suzy, I was so bored. I really was. I was yawning in the first episode. I was trying to watch it, and I really struggled. I think, there was just no reality to it. Like, how can a group of contestants, so there were 10 contestants in there, so 5 couples, and each couple, one wants to get married, the other one doesn't, and they've got to date others. They can only date 9 other people, and I don't know, I just found it's just illogical, and it, didn't like it at all.
Yeah, I think for you and I, the weird thing is how dating shows have become such huge business. They have become so incredibly successful. The Bachelor series, and then now the Married at First Sight franchise, they have become so huge. They've taken over so much of popular culture. And it is good that we have a queer opportunity, because they haven't really done a Bachelor that's queer, not an official one, and they certainly haven't done an official queer version of Mass. So it was good of Netflix to provide this opportunity, and also not start with an all-male cast, So I was kind of excited that, they've decided to go with women first, because there are sort of dating shows with lots of men, and sooner or later we're going to get to those. But it was good that we started with this cast. It was a great cast. I think there were people that we don't usually see on TV. So, I agree with you. The casting was great. I think for me, similar to you, maybe that because none of those people are sort of romantic prospects for you or I, because we are people who like men. So maybe that was an initial hurdle. I found myself like, I'm not really interested in any of you.
I can just see you filing your nails and saying that. But no, Suzy, look, I think also ultimatums. So that's what it's based on. It's like, if you don't marry me, I'm going off with this other person. And I kind of think that, and yes, it's reality TV, and I know everyone listening now will be going, Warren, get off your high horse. But, ultimatums, it's hardly a way to promote healthy relationships. Like, you give me an ultimatum, I'm out the door straight away.
Yeah.
I think, it wasn't mentally stimulating, it wasn't, it didn't make me think about relationships. Look at these problems and how would I work that out? If it was,
I guess that's the difference between documentary and reality, isn't it? And it does get a little bit better, because that ultimatum bit of it becomes a bit less important when they pair up with new people. And it was intriguing to see how some of them were able to make new relationships work, and some of them really, really struggled with the new relationships. And, I'm always curious about the nature of romantic relationships. And as I grow older, I have a new sort of understanding of marriage, what the purpose of it is, and how, why people keep wanting to get married, and what are some of the good points about marriage that I never sort of appreciated as a younger person. So it does have some points of interest for me, but it was certainly a struggle to start.
And I think that this probably, I was never one who wanted to get married anyway. If it was important for my partner, I would, but I didn't need this external validation. But that was just me personally. But if I valued marriage, or for anyone who does value marriage, this just waters it down as though it's some sort of, thing we can just flip around and trial 10 different people and call it a trial marriage. Like, how is it a trial marriage when you're stuck with 10 people? You pick one of them and say, I'm having a trial marriage with you. You don't even know them.
I did think that it was good that it made you, if you're able to... No, because I had to persist with it. I probably wouldn't have otherwise. But because I had to persist with it, my mind went to sort of a different space that I found quite intriguing in what do you need to make a marriage work, And knowing that passion always fades, you and I are slightly older, so we know that passion is enjoyable.
You've got a riding whip in your bedroom. Your passion doesn't fade. You just whip them back into shape.
That's because I keep changing people that come into my bed. But because, I understand that passion fades, and that's fine. If you want to look for that passion again, you can. But that almost means that marriage, because of that need for it to go, hopefully forever, the longevity piece of it, it's almost like then you need to look outside of passion, right? You need to look at the other things, all the other things that would make a marriage work. And the older I get, the more importantly, I understand how marriage works. I can understand as an older person now that living alone is challenging. As an older person, I don't know if I should call myself an older person, but a middle-aged person, I feel like, actually, it does make a lot of sense if you have a family unit, you have someone to share the burdens of certain things with, so that you're not the one that's constantly burdened with all these things. You have someone to take turns, so I understand that those things are really great, but it's almost like, it has nothing to do with passion, really.
But the thing is, you can't just have someone, like, it's one thing to say, I want someone there. I mean, I would love it too, but I just don't want someone there to tick the box. I want someone there who I've got a real connection with. And the people in this show, we are talking about The Ultimatum, Queer Love, which is on Netflix. The people in this show, I didn't feel like there was that strong connection there. They were flippantly changing, just whatever they wanted. I didn't like it. I feel like in our community, Suzy, there's bigger issues in relationships. We've got trauma. We've got that need for external validation with men, particularly with sex. I would find those things much more interesting and real. And that's what I would like to watch in a show that's dealing with relationships. But maybe I'm expecting too much from reality TV.
I think you are expecting too much from reality TV. I think this is taking on a sort of tried and tested format that works for straight people.
They didn't test it on us.
I think they're trying to get into this space, and this year it seems like there are like 5 of these like queer dating shows that are happening, and they are taking on slightly different forms. So maybe it's early days for us. Hopefully it will evolve so that it becomes a format that suits our understanding of relationships, our understanding of the world, our experience of the world more appropriate to us. But at the moment with this show especially, it's like completely adapted from a straight people format. So, what you say is right. That it is like you can't really identify with it very easily.
Not at all. But I think also, I mean, it's not so much just the characters in it, but it's what does it say about the format? And I do say I'm not a reality TV person. I don't like it at all. But is this what people watch? Is this the sort of stuff that gets in the big audiences and brings in the advertising dollar? Is it reality TV?
Yeah, I'm a huge reality fan, but I don't watch dating shows. I find Bachelor and Maths, which are the big hits, to be incredibly hard to watch for me. And I think it has a lot to do with our basic, like our foundational stuff, like who we are as queer people. Like it runs so contradictory to how we understand the world, how we experience the world. So to just kind of take it wholesale and transpose it for queer people, obviously it's going to be very, very challenging for them. But, I agree with you. 10 points for them for trying.
Yeah, absolutely. I just wonder whether if this doesn't appeal to us and our community, will it appeal to the straight community to watch?
Hopefully it does. I hope it finds an audience. I don't want them to feel like they invested money in queer content and they felt like they wasted. That would be a shame.
Suzy, so look, not for me. I didn't get past the first episode.
I knew that coming in.
I had lots of free time on the weekend.
I did the 4 episodes, and you know what? I'm fairly certain I'm going to watch the concluding 4, because over time I had become sort of quite invested in some of the characters. Like some of the characters were able to show themselves to be really authentic within a very manufactured world, which is, most reality shows, they give you a really manufactured world, but within that, if you're able to show who you really are, a show can actually happen. And I'm interested, especially in a few of the non-binary people, how I guess their gender identity is a way for me to identify with them, maybe.
Maybe. It's The Ultimatum, Queer Love. It is streaming now on Netflix. Suzy, what will I be watching this weekend?
In the spirit of solidarity with drag queens everywhere, It's a really tough time for them. Next week, we're looking at Drag Me to Dinner, a game show featuring 40 queens over 10 episodes, cooking up meals and throwing dinner parties.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
The series begins streaming later this week on Disney+. I wouldn't be surprised if you only did one episode, but we'll see.
I like food. I'd rather watch food than people arguing about whether they should stay with their partner or not.
Yeah, hopefully this one's much better. And I'll see you next Tuesday.
See you, Suzy. See you, Suzy.